let's go ahead and we're gonna get into it a whole year later. You guys know what this video is about. You know why you clicked on it. You already didn't know that you was going to be watching this face. I usually do like video essays from time to time, but I just wanted to do this one face to face. And I didn't review any of these episodes last year. Actually, last year when these episodes were airing, I was there for them, but for like two of them, actually, the fourth episode and the fifth episode, I was out of town working at the time. I was working as a fire watch for a shutdown at a plant. And I won't forget watching the Bells episode on my phone while I wasn't supposed to be on my phone. It was like on the roof area where nobody is supposed to be. And I was done with my job and it was like, we really don't have any more work for you. So I was just like, I guess I'll just be doing whatever. But they didn't want me to have my phone. But that was the only place that you could get signal. I was like, it's premiering right now. So you do what you can. But yeah, so it's been an entire year since Game of Thrones ended. Needless to say, this went down in history just to everyone else as one of the biggest letdowns in TV history. Of course, I feel like everybody knows this. To me personally, I'll admit, from a writing standpoint and a payoff standpoint, I was let down. I don't think that character payoffs were as successful as the show had hoped. And it feels like everything just decided to let's take a left turn. And I do not like that direction. I'm not a huge fan of it. But now that a year has gone by. And I've had some time to think about it. I haven't rewatched the entire season since I saw it. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I've caught some of the old episodes, like leading up to like a couple seasons. Like I own the first 5 on Blu-ray. Still gotta get 6 and 7, but I own the first 5. I've even read all the books, and I just like just let it chill. It happened. It just wasn't that good. Apparently, someone's using water right now. I'm gonna ignore it. But anyways, yeah, I was just like, it happened. Sometimes, when a lot of people work really hard, this happens. And I just wish that it would have worked better from a story standpoint. Now, moving forward from what I'm saying, let's go ahead and talk some more about what I'm trying to, talk about. Before I go into this review, I just want to say thank you to every single one of the cast members throughout the years. Not just cast members, but crew members, production team, everyone that had a say in trying to figure out on how this show got made. Changed the way that television is today. Changed what television even means for the future. Game of Thrones isn't just a TV show when it came on. It's changing the way that we're going to be given TV moving forward. It's budget. Like, for instance, like Westworld. Whether you watch Westworld or not, I've only seen the first season. That show's budget, I don't think it would have had that budget if you wouldn't have had stuff like Game of Thrones. I feel like a good example of that is what sometimes Netflix does. If you remember the Marvel Netflix stuff before that all got canceled, they had a really good budget for stuff like Daredevil. It's movie-like quality. And then you go over to the CW universe where they're doing their superhero shows like The Flash and Arrow. Well, they did do Arrow. They weren't not movie level. It feels like that budget was way more limited. So, needless to say, Game of Thrones definitely is doing a change moving forward from the time it was on to what we're getting now. Currently, I don't know. We could be at the end of the world. This video might not age well. We are in the middle of the coronavirus, so I have no idea. So, I hope not, but yeah. So, to all of the crew members, the production, anyone that just worked their ass off, thank you. You did a fantastic job. I just want to go ahead and put that 2 cents out there. If you haven't seen the Game of Thrones The Long Night documentary, I think that's what it's called, The Last Watch. I'll put it up on the screen. Go watch it. If you own HBO Now, like a subscription, you can go watch it on there. I believe you can buy it separately. Highly recommend it. It's 2 hours of just this production crew working their ass off to get this final season made. So, like I said, I haven't rewatched Game of Thrones since it ended, but I did buy it on Blu-ray whenever it released a couple months ago, or I don't know, I forget. I just remember one day I was in Walmart, I saw it, was like, I'm gonna go ahead and add that to my collection. So I have it. I opened it for the first time about a week and a half ago when I started doing the rewatches, including the documentary that I told you guys about. That's on here. That's awesome. And rewatching the season has been very interesting, to say the least. I think the first 2 episodes are decent. They're fine. Actually, episode 2 might be one of my favorite episodes of the entire show. I did rewatch it, like I said, and that episode is not as good as I remember. I felt really happy for Brienne's character in the end. I don't think the rest of it works as well. One of my issues with... Okay, God, I'm sorry. I really need a haircut. One of the issues I have with the final season is the way that the characters interact with each other. We're getting a lot of people that are meeting for the first time, which is really fun. But also, there's a problem. You see, this entire season only has 6 episodes. I don't know why or who was in charge to do this. I've heard rumors that Dan Weiss and David Benioff, they were the reason that the show ended so early. I can't confirm that. I really can't. I have no idea to say if that is what happened or not. I can't believe everything that I read on the internet. Not saying that that wouldn't be true. I'm just saying I don't have enough facts in front of me to say that that's the case. But 6 episodes is not enough here. One of the issues throughout this season is that we are constantly going from point A to point B very fast. And if you've seen the previous seasons of Game of Thrones, you know that traveling takes a long time between these continents. It really does. And when you travel a lot, you have characters interacting with each other. Because we're not seeing this time that these characters are spending together, some of their motivations just feel bland whenever we do get their interactions. Maybe these scenes could have worked if we had the time to put in with these characters. Honestly, if I'm being honest, some choices still would not work. Like, I'm sorry, that Jaime stuff in the end, that's dumb. It's dumb. But you gotta see where what I'm making is that when you decide to skip through stuff, you're missing out these details that you're leaving out of the audience. And when you're writing that, it just gives you less of the bigger picture. Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen are kind of like a power couple this season. He is sort of king of the north. He doesn't want to be that, but, you know, that falls into his character a lot this season. And Daenerys, of course, she's this big liberator, I believe you could say. You know, she's freed a lot of people along the way. And she's in the end game by being over here in Westeros. And she's making alliances. She's meeting a lot of people she's never met before. We touch on that, but not as much as I wish they did. She's still got her crew like Grey Worm, Missandei, and Jorah, and Tyrion, and Varys, but she's got like 2 scenes where she interacts with people that are from Westeros in this season. Like, for instance, she talks with Sansa in a scene, and Sansa, I fucking hate Sansa. Her whole thing, just my opinion, she wants the North to be separate from the entire 7 Kingdoms, which I understand. It's an entire shit show, you know? Everybody's trying to kill everybody in this world. You'd be like, hey, I want to be able to have just a little bit of my own spot. I can't even really fault that all that much. I just don't like the way that Sansa handles it. I don't like the way that she talks with Daenerys about it in that one scene. It just feels like these characters are afraid to speak to each other, or the writers are afraid to make them communicate properly. It just feels like they're biding time. It seemed like it was going to go somewhere in this one scene with Sansa and Daenerys. Never does. Never feels like that. And another good scene that I really love is when Sam and Daenerys talk for the first time. she has to tell him, I ended up killing the rest of your bloodline, well, at least male, and they're dead now because they wouldn't, bow to me or kneel, whatever the fuck. And I think that David Bradley's really fucking good in that scene. Honestly, everyone in this entire season, I don't know that anybody's doing weak. Like I said, crew and cast, they're all fucking amazing this season. I just think a lot of it falls onto that writing aspect. But yeah, these first 2 episodes are great. One of the things I don't like in the second episode, I really just, it feels wrong. Even with the actresses say so, it just feels weird. I think Maisie Williams is a very beautiful woman. Kind of got a crush on her, I'll admit that. But that Arya stuff is just weird. I mean, I'm just saying, it feels that way. It kind of, the way they go about it, something just feels off. I like that her character is like, this is probably my last night alive. I like that aspect, but I don't think it works. And again, that scene is just, and it's weird because she's older than me, but it feels weird, it's kind of like, I feel like I've made my point. Everyone has also kind of agreed with me on this, so I don't really think I gotta spend much more time on it. The next episode, episode 3, The Long Night. I didn't like it when I first saw it. I still don't like the way that they handle the Night King. I still don't like that a lot of characters that clearly die like multiple times in this episode from the decisions and what is on screen somehow make it out magically. But the production on this episode is fucking incredible. When I first saw it last year, I streamed it onto my TV from HBO Now with Roku. And when you stream something over the internet, there's a lot of banding and everything and compression. And especially HBO Now, with you not even being able to select what quality you want to choose while you're watching on a TV, just depends on what your internet can give you at the moment. I was also trying to watch this when everyone else wanted to watch this episode. So you can understand why it just looked blurry throughout a lot. On Blu-ray, this episode is actually really fucking good. It's still hard to see because it's a night episode, but it's really damn good on the technical side. I think it does a good job of letting you see what's happening while still keeping you in the dark. There's a lot of like dismemberment and everything from a lot of characters in this battle whenever the White Walkers are attacking the armies that are out at the front. It just looks great. And I don't think that we give that enough credit. We're not able to see it, but we're still able to see it. The Long Night, it's a weird episode for me to talk about. I really want to love it, and I love a lot about it. But overall, I just like it. I don't really want to talk too much about the cons. My only cons in the episode are characters that clearly should have died don't die. And Bran does nothing this episode. He doesn't warp into the dragon and become the dragon. He becomes a fucking security camera. That's it. All those people die anyways, so what the fuck was that for? Jorah, he goes out like a boss. I love that death. I think Emilia Clarke crying, sobbing over his corpse is just fucking incredible. I think she's a great actress, and like if I could choose like, hey, here 10 actors and actresses from Game of Thrones that need to like have a steady career moving forward, I'd be like, oh yeah, she's definitely on that list for sure. But yeah, I just think it's a great moment. I always loved Jorah, and I like that his character is now, at rest. Even if the person he was trying to protect turns out to be a psycho bitch. We'll get to that later. Moving forward, we have episode 4, which is fine, until we stop partying in the castle. We stop partying in the castle, and this episode is immediately like, and here's the last half of the season. And something about this entire vibe moving forward just feels off. I don't want to spend too much time, but I love all the partying stuff. I love all that. But after that, there's a line that really, it bugs me. It bugs a lot of people. If you know what I'm talking about, it's an interview with either Dan Weiss or David Benioff in the after show that you could watch on HBO now whenever the episode ends. And it's like, whenever her dragon, Aegon, I believe it is, gets shot, they're using that clip as reference while he talks about the scene. And what he says is, the Uncle Greyjoy, that's his name I got for him. I don't really care for that character. I think it's Baron. Who gives a shit? Euron, I think. Anyways, he says Dany kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet. And I'm just like, that's not good writing at all. Anybody who's involved in any of this should fucking know what the enemies are. And that is the most, like, I'm like, what? Who? Why? You don't know who your enemies are? You don't know the two fucking people you gotta look out for? She forgot about what? Did she forget about it? Because she was having conflicts with Jon and Sansa? Is that the reason? That's fucking stupid. Don't do that. I don't know. I really hate what I just did there. I don't like doing that. I really fucking don't. I hate bitching about this stuff. I want to just give you guys my take on it. Moving forward, we of course get to the Bells episode. Dany decides to burn it all down after having all this conflict with these characters. And I'm not against her becoming evil and insane at all. I was actually preparing for it the entire road that was being paved along the way while I was watching this series. Only issue is that we're not there yet. We're not. They did like 2 episodes where she just starts getting jealous and now she wants to kill everyone. And there's not a definitive moment where I'm like, yeah, just flip that switch right now. They just run up to that switch, flip it, and she burns down King's Landing and the women and children in it. And the character that you've presented to us throughout the years isn't capable of that. You're just saying that she is because you wrote it that way. And then you got stupid shit like Jaime running off on Brienne to go be with Cersei, which... I don't have to say anything. You know exactly what I gotta say about it. And I'm not gonna waste my time on it. Honestly, there's not a whole lot that I gotta say. Dany dies in a weird way because she makes that speech about how they can't live in our world or whatever if they don't follow our orders. I'm like, yeah, there's really fucking nobody that's gonna listen to you now. You just burn the whole goddamn place to the ground. If I saw that shit, I'm fucking walking to the north. Don't put me in the 7 kingdoms. Y'all have a good day. And then she goes out. The Iron Throne gets burnt. Drogon picks him up. Picks her up. Takes her out. Jon's band has to go to the north. Bran's now king. I don't hate that. But I don't like how we got to it. I don't want to go anymore and get any more furious than I am. I feel like episode 4 and 5 drained all my energy out. Kind of like how episode 6 drained every bit of the energy out through the pace. I'm sorry. I like to apologize because I know that there's a lot of hardworking people that work on this stuff. At the end of the day, I'm just giving my opinions on what I think in the story just did not work. And that's why the ending of the TV adaptation of Game of Thrones just does not work. Is the season terrible? It's a letdown. It depends on where you define terrible. From the acting and the production standpoint, it's still fucking amazing. 100%. They've actually done like a lot of shit here that a lot of TV shows, including Game of Thrones itself, hasn't done to this point. The night shoots for The Long Night are some of the most incredible stories I've ever heard shooting this episode, and how many painstakingly hours they all had to put into it, every single bit of that production crew. Hell, they had to go through for months just to get this one episode done. Alone, it should be applauded for. Again, my only fault with this season is the writing. Do I hate D.B Weiss and David Benioff? Do I want to go to Comic-Con and boo them? No. They have adapted one of my favorite stories of all time that I will forever love moving forward. And I'm thankful for the first 7 seasons of what they were able to write before getting to this point. I'm never going to be mad at them for messing up this ending. I get it. It's stressful. I can't even imagine what it must be like to be in their shoes. This isn't me standing up for them. This is just me saying I don't think that I can personally ever write anything as good as them. It's a dream that I have one day that I want to be able to make stories and tell them, but I seriously cannot promise that I could make anything better than these two have done. I'm just being honest. Again, that's not me sticking up for them. I think that they've had a lot of time to realize what they did. And I'm glad that a year has gone by for me to just really think about this. I love Game of Thrones as a whole. I'm not going to go rewatch it a bunch because I know where the end game is. Over the past year, I have popped in a few episodes from the first 5 seasons. That's been fun. But to rewatch it all the way through, I don't think I'll ever do it again except for about 1 or 2 more times. And I'm only 20 years old. I've got the books. Game of Thrones Season 8. Its story is a letdown. But it's also a damn fine accomplishment. I'm glad it got made. Also, hey, to the guy who does the music, I can never pronounce his name right. I've never bothered to learn, but here it is. Awesome job. We really don't give you enough credit. You're amazing. And, yeah. That was my sort of therapy for Game of Thrones Season 8. Been watching a lot of Doctor Who, so I say series. Yeah. Happy 1-year anniversary, GOT. I love this show. I will always continue to love this show. I'm just disappointed in what happens in the end. And I think that's just what makes us all a little bit human. If you like this video and you want to check out more, feel free to subscribe. If the video only got about like 7 views and it's been like a week since it's been uploaded, you probably didn't make it this far because I didn't get enough watch time generated because the video didn't blow up, and that's fine. But if you did watch this far, hey, what's your favorite fruit? You gotta write in the comments. I'm just asking you to ask yourself.